Niners just destroyed the Cardinals, which is great. Division opponent. The Niners are 4-0 in their division. That's great. They're really putting themselves in a position to win the division, have a first-round home game, if not a bye. But no, not a bye probably, but a home game.
Yeah.
That's great. Only problem is once they get to the playoffs, they're probably not going to be playing NFC West teams anymore. And the Niners are 2-4 against teams not in the NFC West. It gets worse. When they face the NFC West teams, they're scoring 30 points per game, and that's when everything looks great. McCaffrey, everything's clicking, and you see the potential. But when they face teams that aren't in the NFC West, 19 points per game.
Mm-hmm.
6 games against those non-NFC West teams, 116 points. 4 games against the NFC West teams, 120 points. So they're struggling against teams they don't know that well. It's possible this is just a fluke. Early in the season, there was a monsoon, it could just be, one of those things. Or there could be something here we'll find out in the next few weeks. Because the Saints are coming to town on a short week. The Niners are tired. They had a very long road trip, and they had an emotional win over a division opponent. This is a classic game they would lose to the Saints. They should destroy the Saints. Saints aren't good. Andy freaking Dalton, are you kidding me? But let's see. Are the Niners for real? If so, they'll start taking care of these non-division opponents too.
Yeah, and I think part of it, these division opponents are kind of weak, man. Like we coming in the season, we thought they would be better than they are right now. The Rams, awful.
Awful.
Yeah, they're awful. Kyle Shanahan knows McVay like the back of his hand. Kingsbury and these Cardinals are
awful. Kingsbury especially, man. I feel bad for the good players in that team because Kingsbury he didn't even win in college. He does not deserve that job.
Yeah, he's not great, man. And then even the Seahawks, great coach, they're overplaying. So their roster is not that strong on paper, but they're playing better than their roster says. So even against the Seahawks, they beat a team that they're superior to on paper. So you kind of expect them to beat up these teams based on Kyle Shanahan knowing them really well, knows these coaches really well, and they're all kind of weak. They're all kind of down. It's kind of like kicking a dead horse a little bit with these teams. So, the test is coming in December. Like that's really where they're going to have to figure out who they are. Besides the Seahawks, what teams have they played that have a winning record right now? Do you know? Are there any besides?
Well, have they beaten? I mean, the Chargers maybe, but that Chargers team they faced was like the Chargers B team.
Defeated. Yeah.
I mean, really, it seems like the only good team they've beaten is Seattle, and they haven't beaten a playoff team that's not in their division. And if they're going to win the Super Bowl, they're going to have to beat like 3 or 4 of those at some point in a row.
Yeah, that's why I don't feel like we can judge this team one way or the other completely right now. I mean, they've had 3 good games, and that's great. I'm not trying to take it away from them or Jimmy or Kyle. It was exciting to see what I thought was almost the perfect game. I mean, they did everything I wanted them to do yesterday, even including bringing in Jordan Mason. So, yeah, I mean, really happy with all that, but I think the test is still ahead,
It's absolutely still ahead. And I think what I wanted to do in Mexico City was give the Niners ultimate praise for that game. I gave them nothing but A's. But I didn't want to go overboard with a big picture statement like, oh, now they're the team to beat in the NFC. They beat Arizona. And yeah, they destroyed Arizona, but it's still Arizona. Oh, if Jimmy plays like that every week, he won't. Eventually, he's going to have to face a pass rush and a team that can actually cover some of his wide receivers. We're going to see that in the next few weeks. We're going to see it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I still feel like this is the kind of team, the Niners, that could run the table in the regular season the rest of the way, not lose another game, and somehow lose in the first round at home. I don't trust this team until they start. They talk too much about what they've done in the past. Why do you think? Does this kind of we did this last year? You haven't done anything. You're not champions. You haven't done anything. Establish the standard now. And it's like, okay, you beat the Cardinals. Great. Like, you keep beating teams in your division. It's important. Got to do it. But you've played these teams a million times, and you're better than them. You freaking should beat them.
Yeah.
You've lost to some teams that you're better than this year. You've lost to 3 teams you're better than this year that you should have beat. Why? Is it just because it was a fluke early in the season, or is it because there's a problem here? I guess we'll find out.
I think my score prediction for this last game was the best or the most accurate I've had all.
You killed it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. My pessimism took over.
I saw that.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, that the reason why my prediction was so accurate this time is really because the 49ers finally played up to their potential.
Yeah.
And so every time when I think about the game, I'm assuming that they're going to play up to their level, and they just haven't been. This time they did. But when you're looking at this schedule, the next game up is the Saints. That should be a W. It better be. But then you got December. December is going to be the hardest month for the 49ers. They got the Dolphins, the Bucks, the Seahawks in Seattle, and the Commanders, who are playing really well right now.
Right. The Seahawks in Seattle on a short week too.
Yeah, that's four teams all over 500. The Dolphins have a really good record. Seahawks have a good record. The Bucks are over 500. Commanders are at 500, who just kind of got new life with this young quarterback.
And you got this little trap game coming up right now. I'm just saying, short week, Thanksgiving, emotional win. This is when the Niners let down. Exhausted, emotionally drained, tryptophan. They're going to beat the Saints, but they're looking ahead to this 4-game stretch. It's legit. Don't forget about the Saints either. But Andy Dalton, I mean, come on. He's like Colt McCoy with redder hair.
They better be the Saints. I got them. So they're 6-4 right now. I got them with a W against the Saints and then finishing the season against the Raiders and Cardinals with W's. The question marks for me are the Dolphins, Bucks, Seahawks, and Commanders. Like, I don't know. Maybe they go 2-2. Maybe they go 3-1. Maybe they go 1-3. I don't know.
Are the Commanders like winning games ever since they went to Heineke? Is that the deal? Yeah. So, okay. So these teams have all kind of found ways to win. The Niners have their way to win with Jimmy. It'd be interesting. Hey, if they beat the Dolphins at home, that's a big confidence booster. And I want to say this win against the Cardinals is a big confidence booster. It's what they needed. They needed a confidence booster heading into the Chiefs game, and they lost to the Falcons. Like, if they're going to really take themselves seriously in the playoffs, they need to start doing this. I don't see how they can take themselves seriously as a Super Bowl contender if they're like squeaking past the Chargers. Like, come on. No, do this. Yeah.
And it builds that confidence, and it builds that trust in each other, in the program, and Kyle and Jimmy. So now, they're coming after this game. You saw Debo, he's tweeting good things about Jimmy. That's good energy, man. Now they're confident, they're riding high. They just got to be very careful not to think that the Cardinals is the measure, right? They got to be, celebrate your win. You guys had an amazing game in Mexico. Come do it again against the Saints on Sunday. That's what's going to really be a little more telling, but even more so December. That's going to be tough. I don't know if fans are kind of underestimating December, I think, a little bit.
I just feel like this team, in 2019 when they went to the Super Bowl, no one really picked them. Nationally, teams analysts didn't like them, and the Niners kind of came out every week proving themselves until they were 8-0.
Yeah.
This team, like every time they win one game, national media is like, boom, there it is, Super Bowl team. And I feel like the Niners listen to it and are affected by it. And that's why I feel like, they could beat they could beat Philly. I don't know if they could beat Kansas City, but maybe they could beat any team in the league. But at the same time, like, they have the ability to just really fall short of what they're capable of. And maybe that's not going to happen anymore this season. Maybe it's not. But so far it's been happening when they play anyone that's not in the NFC West. The only time they've played up to their potential in a non-division game is when they played Carolina. That's it. It's the only time.
Yeah, and I got a question for you too in regards to kind of along these lines. We kind of see a pattern from Kyle Shanahan where, at least the last 2 seasons, where they start slow, but he starts to figure things out as the season goes on, which is good. But isn't it also bad? Like, I don't know that you can't start fast also. Like, I'm like struggling to determine which – is this good that he's figuring things out later, or is it bad that he just hasn't been able to figure it out early?
I mean, it's
or is it both?
At least he can figure it out eventually. Some coaches can't. Yeah. I don't think Nathaniel Hackett's going to figure it out.
Right.
But the best coaches aren't like punting half a season.
Yeah.
Which is essentially what he's done in the last 2 years in a row. Like, hey, as long as we tread water and we're like not too far under 500 by week 10, we'll be good. I don't think you can do that consistently. I mean, maybe they'll do it 2 years in a row. Maybe you can, since there's 7 seeds now, and it seems like that's almost by design. He's thinking, I don't want to have a strenuous training camp, and I don't want to play my players in a preseason at all. So it's going to take me a while to figure out what I'm doing on offense.
Yeah, maybe that has part to do with it. They kind of use the first few games as preseason
diagnostic. Yeah. Dude, the NFL is such a weak product, dude. No one really talks about it because we all. I mean, we talk about it for money, and people play fantasy football, and no one really cares. But damn, it's so mediocre now. the teams hardly practice. September's a joke. Offenses don't really even get into their own get into rhythm until November these days. It's like, I don't know. And there's no great teams. We grew up with all-time great teams.
Yeah.
You could talk about the 94 Niners or the 98 Broncos. There were teams we grew up with that were go up against any team all time. Now it's like, what's the team that's like a little bit mediocre plus? That's the Super Bowl champion.
Yeah,
the Rams last year?
A lot of it might have to do with the salary cap. Everyone's a little bit closer.
Mostly about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's what a lot of this is. And, to going back on what I was talking about with Kyle Shanahan, it is better to get hot at the right time towards the end of the season. So maybe that is a better strategy than getting hot early. Yeah.
That's true. And I think most fans probably like parity. Owners like it. I think most fans would rather feel like their team has a chance than to watch some team in another market be great.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Cisco Kid says Rookie of the Year, old movie, young kid, broke arm, healed through 90 miles an hour fastball, shoulder surgery, getting closer to throwing Hail Marys, go Niners. Yeah, that's Jimmy. He's Rookie of the Year. That was a good movie.
Yeah.
Beyond Reasons, ENT says the game ball belongs to Kyle Shanahan. Loved it. Yeah, he did a really good job.
Gave it to John York.
The Niners have to bend over backwards to praise their owners. It's so funny. They're so great. They do. It's like they're supposed to send you to freaking the Air Force Academy. They're supposed to. CT Law says, did you see the news after the game? They said Jimmy G is like a god to the Mexican football fans. He said the fans went nuts when he took the field. Was that true? I wouldn't say he's like a god. That's kind of disrespectful. But no, they really treated him like he was freaking Justin Timberlake or something.
Well, he's probably better looking than Justin Timberlake.
I just think they like his.
Got a beat.
Terror Dome says, Grant, your travel show should be Grant Cohn Places. I don't get it.
Cohen Places.
Oh, yeah. I don't pronounce my name that way, though. But yeah, it's funny. Great job. Question is Jimmy G a Pro Bowl candidate? I don't know. I don't think maybe he would have to throw more down the stretch.
That would be crazy.
Could be. It would be crazy. He's got the weapons. I mean, honestly, he should be a Pro Bowl candidate, dude. Like, you got some talent. You got all the weapons in the world. Like, what is the problem? And so far, last month, putting up good numbers, efficient numbers. RWJ all day says it's Trey's team. He got hurt. Only reason Jimmy is playing, can't re-sign him. Kyle doesn't want distractions, right? Ryan, thanks again for the number 11 jersey.
Oh, what's up, man? Yeah, I gave away he won the Brandon Ayuk jersey. He predicted the Bills-Chiefs game. I gave away another one last night, CMC jersey to a kid. So, yeah, you're welcome, sir.
Seth Harvey says Tua going to be on his back all game week 13. Could be.
Tua gets the ball off quick too, though. He's kind of like Jimmy. He's gonna get. Mike McDaniel's not going to let Nick Bosa attack Tua all game long. I can't
wait for that game. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
Luke says, come playoffs, who's the biggest threat to the Niners in a Super Bowl run? Probably unpopular opinion. I'm only worried about Tampa Bay. God forbid they heat up.
I'm worried about the Cowboys.
They have a legit defense.
Their defense is good, and their offense has been better up until last night. They've been better than the 49ers. So they worry me.
Matthew says, does that mean Jimmy Garoppolo will throw underhand for Super Bowl win? That's how it ended at Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Silverado Kev says, re-sign him? Nah, but he's playing well. And say, G, when I text you bars like contract Jimmy, I'm going to need a text back, LOL. Sorry, man, I was in Mexico. It was hard. But I appreciate you, Silverado Kev.